In this video, I'm going to show you how to put a pig on a spit. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to marinate the pig first. So we get some olive oil, we're going to liberally splash this over the pig, we're going to rub it in as we go. So the important thing is to get the outside of the pig and then we'll turn it over, get the other side. Making sure we get the legs, everything. So the outside of the pig is all oiled up now. Alright, so now that the outside of the pig's done, we need to add some salt and pepper. A bit more salt and pepper. We're just going to drizzle this on, we're going to rub it in. So we do this on the inside and the outside of the pig. Make sure we got plenty of salt on there. Again, flip the animal over. More salt. We've got to get the inside of the beast as well. We'll rub that in there. Making sure there's plenty of salt. So now we're going to do the pepper. Not as much as the salt, but just a nice drizzling. Making sure that we get every square inch. Rub that in. Again, making sure you get every part of the pig. And again, inside. Alright, and that's us marinated. Okay, so for the next part we're going to skewer the animal. So we're going to put the sharpened end of the skewer here through the back of the animal. Feed it through, and that's going to come through the mouth at the other end. So when you're putting the skewer through the mouth, you may need to get a screwdriver just to pry the mouth open. The mouth's open, so we can just slide the skewer straight through and keep that pig nice and centered. Right, the next part is we're going to start putting in these back braces. So for an animal this size, I'm going to put in 2 back braces. So the idea is it's going to feed underneath the skewer, and then this plate's going to sit on top, and that's going to come up through and we're going to screw it in. For this animal, I'm going to get just a small knife. I'm going to get my back brace, and I'm going to put a couple of incisions where I think this is going to be best served. So half the animal's about here, so I'm going to put a back brace here, and I'm going to put another one up around about there. So I'm just going to mark these holes just with a small knife, just underneath where that is, and I'm going to do the same up here. Just make a small incision, and that's going to help me get through the pig as I come up through the inside of the animal. Okay, so we're just going to push the back brace through the inside of the animal until it pokes out the holes that we cut. We get our plate to secure the back brace. And then we just get our wing nuts. One for each side, like so. So what it's going to look like is you're going to have this back brace here over the top of the skewer, or underneath the skewer in this case, and then that plate on top of the animal. So that's obviously going to get closer and closer to that skewer. It's going to pinch up against it later as I tighten it, but I'll put in the other back brace first. Okay, so we just make sure that the back braces are nice and tight, the animal's secure. And then we're going to put the animal on the rotisserie, and we're going to finish spiking the legs and getting it all ready. So here we're putting the rear prong into the hind legs of the animal. So you may need to get a hammer just to hammer that through, just in case you meet any bone or whatever. So we're just going to hold the legs up, hold it nice and tight. And we're going to secure the animal. Get our screw. Make sure that's nice and tight, and then we're going to do the same with the front. So here we've done the same for the front. With the pig you may have to just cut the cheekbones a little bit just through here to make sure that that prong goes through and that it actually secures the animal into the shoulders here. So yeah, we're just hammering it in, and then we just screwed it in exactly like we did last time on the back of the animal. Okay, so the last part we're going to do here, going to put the leg bracket on, and then we're just going to hook the legs over, and then we're going to tighten it up. So the easiest way to do that is hook one leg over first, second leg, we're going to push this forward, make sure that those legs are nice and secure. They're not going to fall out of this little spot here, because the way that the legs are going is they're pushing the force against that. We're just going to tighten up our leg bracket or our leg brace. And that's the animal nice and secure. So next we're going to secure the front legs to the front prong here. So we've just got a bit of stainless steel wire, we've wrapped it around the leg. We're first going to secure it to the prong here. Make sure it's nice and tight. Now just remember, when working with stainless steel wire, just be careful of your eyes, because it does tend to flick out a little bit, so just be really careful. So we pull that nice and tight, wrap it around the head here. We're going to come around to the other leg. Just going to wrap this. Remembering to keep it nice and tight. Okay, next we're going to fill the cavity of the beast, just with some apples, some onions, some garlic. You may want to do whatever you want to do. We'll just pop that in there. Some apple. And we're just going to fill all of this up, because what we're going to do is we're going to stitch it all up at the end. We're just going to put all of this in here. So that's the animal stuffed now. So you can see all of that wonderful flavour is going to break down as it cooks. It's all going to have plenty of juice. Well, it's going to break down, it's going to help marinate the inside of the animal. It's going to taste absolutely brilliant. So next up we're going to stitch the animal up. So keep all these... So next up we're going to stitch the animal, keep all of this inside. So the first thing we do is we just start our stitch. So you can use butcher's string or you can use wire, depends whatever you can get your hands on. So we simply just feed it through, and then we come up through the other side. And we pull it through. So basically stitching up every about inch or so as we go along, and we're just going to stitch up. We're just going to continue that stitching the whole way along here. And we just continue that until we're finished. Okay, so as you'll see now, the animal's torso is completely stitched up, so that's going to seal all those apples, onions and garlic and everything all inside. Keep it all marinated, get all those juices going. So that's all done, so next up we've got to counterbalance the weight of the meat. So what we're going to do for the next part is we're going to make sure that this meat is balanced, so when it's cooking, it's actually cooking evenly as it's going. At the moment, especially when you're cooking with whole animals, there are going to be heavier parts of the meat, so as you can see there's more weight in this part here, just underneath. So as the meat's turning, what it's going to tend or want to tend to do is fall down. So the way that we counteract this is with a counterbalance weight. So quite simply what we do is we make sure the meat's nice and balanced there, and then we just let it fall. So as you can see, that meat just fell. So then what we need to do, with the heavy part facing down, we just put our counterbalance weight in the opposite direction, and we make that nice and tight, so that when we bring our meat back up, it should stay there without falling. So the next part that we've got to do is we've got to light our charcoal. So I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you can light your charcoal. So we've got our fire starter here. Some people call it a chimney or a jug. So essentially we're going to light fire lighters underneath that and let it catch naturally. We've got our flaming coals charcoal starter wand over here. So we're going to light that, this pile of charcoal here with no accelerants, no newspaper, firelighters or anything. And then we've got just a pile of charcoal with a firelighter in it, so that we're going to let this one catch naturally as well. So you'll be able to see how you can do it 3 different ways. You can choose the way that's easiest for you. So first up we're going to light our charcoal with the fire starter here. So you just need to grab a few of these fire starters. So this is a natural wood fire lighter. So very simple to use, catches the light quite easily, but holds its flame quite well. It doesn't give off any nasty accelerants or any sort of fumes that'll actually harm your meat. So the first thing we do is we just light one of these up. And then we're just going to stick that just there. We're going to let that one catch. Going to put a couple down there, just light them all up, and then simply we just put our charcoal over the top. Now what's going to happen is oxygen's going to run through the holes in the bottom of the fire starter, and then that's going to push the heat up through, and we're just going to let that catch naturally. So you're looking around about 20 minutes to half an hour for that to catch and be ready, and you know it's ready when your coals are white and there's no more flame. So next up we're going to light the charcoal without sort of any real assistance, no chimney or jug or fire starter or starter wand. So I've just got a natural fire lighter inside this pile of charcoal. So you're just going to build a nice little pile and let that catch naturally. So I'm just going to turn my flame on, get that fire lighter started, and then I'm just going to wait for that to catch naturally. So finally we've got the Flaming Coals Charcoal Starter Wand. Now essentially what this does is it blows out hot air and then that's concentrated onto the coals, so you don't need any newspaper, fire lighters or anything like that. Just shoot it straight onto the coals. When you've got your coals lit, you can switch it to just the pure fan mode, and then that'll just help blow the flames around. But we'll get this one started. Just put it towards the base. We're just going to wait for this one to catch. So as you can see, we're starting to get some sparks now. And then once you've got it lit, then you can switch it to the fan mode, and that's going to start pushing that flame around. pushing those sparks around, getting everything lit. Now if you want, you can stand here with the charcoal starter wand and light that as quick as you need to. Or once you've got a nice flame, similar to what's happening over here, then you can just turn the charcoal starter wand off and leave it to catch naturally. So as you can see, our fire starter is ready to go. We've got the charcoal that we started with the Flaming Coals charcoal starter wand. That's going along nicely as well. And then the firelighter one, there's only one bit that's still lighting from underneath, but still okay to put out. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine all of this charcoal and we're going to spread it ready for the meat. So it's very important you're using gloves when it comes to hot charcoal, especially when you're using a fire starter or a chimney. It's going to get very, very hot, so just be very, very careful. So we're going to pick this one up. Just going to tip that out. Very, very careful. It's going to be hot. And then we get one of these. We get a Burk or some tongs or something to push that charcoal around. So throughout the cook, what you're going to find is your charcoal is eventually going to go out. So when you're starting new charcoal, it's very important to not put fresh charcoal on top of your lit charcoal. So just make sure that it's to one side, and then what it'll do is it will slowly catch from one side to the other. So what we've got to do next is we've got to get the skewer with the meat on it and set that up on here and get it ready to go. So you're going to probably need a friend to help you out because it does get quite heavy. So we'll just grab that person now and we'll get this pig on the spit. So when determining how high you should have, or how high or how low you should have the meat as it's turning, a good rule of thumb is to put your hand just underneath the meat, and you should be able to hold it there for about 7 or 8 seconds. Now if you can't hold your hand there for 7 or 8 seconds, it means that there's too much heat, so you're going to have to raise the skewer up. If you can hold your hand there longer than the 7 or 8 seconds, it means that the coals are just a little bit too cold, so we can drop the meat, and as they heat up, then we can raise it up. It's very important to remember as well that as the spit's turning, the fat's going to drip from the highest point, so it's going to be dripping at the front in this particular case. So you just need to make sure that so that you can avoid flare-ups. Just make sure that the charcoal is just pushed away towards the back of the spit here towards me. So any fat drippings just go straight on there and don't cause any flare-ups. As you can see, we've foiled the pig's ears just to keep them from burning as it's turning. So there we have it. Our pig is on the spit. It's turning. We've got the height perfect. So again, leave your hand there about 7 or 8 seconds. We've got it counterweighted, so it's all balanced up. It's going to cook absolutely beautifully, and can't wait to enjoy it. So this is an hour into the cook. Some good colour on the pig. We've just been coming back and just making sure that the charcoal's still a good temperature. Adding a little bit as we need. Yeah, looking good so far.
Here we're demonstrating a flare-up where the oils and the juices from the pig are dripping directly onto the coals, so it's creating a fire, and then that's going to create more of a flame under the pig, as you can see here. So you need to make sure that you push all of that charcoal out of the way so that the fat's not dripping directly onto it. Cooking time will vary depending on the size of the pig, but you'll know it's ready when the internal temperature reaches 75 degrees Celsius.